Okay, I'm gonna record myself doing this thing so that maybe y'all can learn things or whatever. Oh man, okay, so this is grouped. Locked? Whatever. I'm just gonna copy and paste this into a new document because that's what you gotta do. New. Come on. Oh. Get rid of that. Oh my goodness, there's more. Get rid of that. Copy and paste. Put it at 0. Hello. ESC, so I can understand what I'm seeing. Alright, this is a block. I'm going to explode it so that I can get the different bits and bobs. I'm going to get that, get rid of it, get that, get rid of it, which leaves foam, nice, and then this fella, and also this fella, great, this fella, and these fellas here. I did not check if the seam catches have been updated. I really hope they have. If not, that sucks. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is figure out exactly how these are going to fit onto sheets. So to do that, I'm going to give myself a template, or just like a representation of a sheet. The sheets are 97 by 49 because they just are. I'm going to put that at 0, 0. Oh, 0, 0. There it goes. I'm gonna turn some of this other stuff off too. Whew, my eyes are so much happier. So I'm just gonna take this and basically put it in the right place. And anytime you're doing this, it is a good idea to actually take the whole thing and like take the whole thing as it's going to be assembled, and then literally put all of the different parts where it needs to go, even if those parts are like multiple copies of the same thing, because you want to make sure that you have the right number, like the right quantity of them for the entire project. And it's frustrating when you make silly mistakes like miscounting things. So I'm moving this so that it's not on any edges in particular. We want to make sure that the CNC is actually getting the right cuts. So if this is like up against the edge, but the CNC, like if the sheet is on the CNC ever so slightly off, then it's not going to be accurate. So we want it to be accurate. So therefore, leave edges, friends. Move that another half inch. Half inch is plenty. You don't need to worry about more than that. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to move it 120 inches. It doesn't really matter exactly how far you go, just as long as it's more than the width of your sheet. And that more than the width of your sheet, and it won't overlap, which would make it more than the width of your sheet. Since the material we're using is MDF for this, we don't have to worry about grain orientation. When we do the layout for something like I don't know why this is so chippy, but it's super chippy right now, and I don't care for it. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, I'm going to hide those. Alright, I'm going to do a thing right now called flat shot. And flat shot is just going to take the lines, or like take the image of whatever is there, and then make a 2D representation of it. It's really important that you're in the correct orientation when you do this. I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to put it at 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. Oh no, did it not place it? It did not place it. Fart. One, tab, 1, 0. It didn't like the tab. So now I can get rid of those, and what we have left is a block of those flat shapes. You need to do that because V-Carve doesn't like three-dimensional shapes. I need to make this not a three-dimensional shape, so I'm going to explode it, and then I'm going to join it back together. When you join it back together, you want to make sure that it will extrude. You do that because if you don't, then, and there's an open line, then V-Carve will not understand which side of the line you want it to cut on, and it will be sad. For the most part, this is usually just an exercise in exploding it and then joining everything back together. Sometimes it gets pissy and then you have to do a boundary command. In this case, it's fine. Great. So now that I have that, I'm going to save this as, I'm going to put a new folder in your thing that's called CNC. I'm going to name it something that's logical and save it as a 2013 file. And now I'm going to open V-Carve. We're going to open an existing file. And it should open. Nice. So this first page is where we tell it how big the material is that we're going to use. I'm going to set that to 97 inches. The thickness is 1/4 inch because we're using 1/4 inch MDF. And make sure that the Z0 is to the bottom of the material. That's the same thing as going to the CNC bed rather than to the top of the material. We do that because that way we only have to set the top of the material at we only have to zero it at the beginning, and it's also better if you're doing through cuts, which is exactly what we're doing. The rest of this can stay. Just make sure that your material, like your main material size is correct, and that your Z0 is correct, and that your thickness is correct. Then click OK. We're going to open toolpaths right here, pin it open, and then I'm going to start selecting the paths that I want it to cut, and then starting to create toolpath operations. These are a whole bunch of different things that it can do. For this one, I'm just going to cut a profile. That means to cut outside of an edge or inside of an edge. So start depth, leave that at whatever it is. Cut depth, however deep you want it to go. So in our case, we want to go all the way through, therefore 1/4 inch. You need to select which tool you're going to use. In this case, we're going to use a 1/4 inch end mill. That'll let us cut a little bit faster. And since we don't have any like tight inside corners, it doesn't really matter. If the thickness of the line is important, or if the like the accuracy is not accuracy, but like smallness of the corners is important, then you can change size. But for us, it doesn't matter. I think I'm going to leave this stuff where it is for now. I have been known to like actually sit down and calculate this stuff and up my feed rate, but for now I'm not going to go into that. Just leave it what it is. The next field is, oh, we do need to talk about this. The rule of thumb for cut depth is that you can cut 2 times the diameter. Your cut depth can be as much as 2 times the diameter of your bit. So in this case, I could make a 1/2 inch deep cut. I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of times that results in cuts that don't look very good and they're not very clean. So I would rather do a second pass, especially on something that's this easy. Don't bother making it super fast. Make it look good so that it saves you time later. Like you spend less time having to clean it up. So in this case, it doesn't matter. We're using a 1/2 inch to cut through 1/2 inch material. 1 pass is fine. We're going to do outside right. That means that the bit is going to travel on the outside edge of this line all the way around. And then we'll leave this at whatever it is. We could totally talk about this. I can tell you in person. I just want to leave it. For something this large, I can almost guarantee that we're going to put a couple staples through it, which means that I don't have to worry about it moving around on the board. And by staples, I actually mean composite nails. They're not the same. But we're just going to say staples. For something smaller, we would probably want to do tabs. For this, I'm just leaving it at what it is. I'll show you tabs in a minute. I'm going to tell myself which sheet this is. So this is, it would be nice if there was a label for this. I'm going to call it P. This is the one in the middle. There's 5 pieces. I'm going to call it P3. I'm going to hit calculate. And it's going to pop up this view, which is a 3D preview view. So I can preview this toolpath by making sure that this is clicked, and then preview selected toolpath. And we should then see it cut out nicely like that. Honestly, if you find this useful, great. Preview the toolpath. For me, I've done this enough where I don't feel like I need to preview the toolpath all the time. Like I have the confidence from lots and lots of hours of doing this to not. Once I've done that, I'm going to click back here, and then I'm going to select the thing that I just made, and then save it. And this should say ShopBot TC inch. Toolpaths to be saved. This one, just give that a quick once over, make sure it's correct. Save toolpaths. And I'm going to put it in that Padua sign folder as well. Close. Deselect this. And scroll out. Now what I'm going to do is take all of this stuff and I'm going to move it. So I'm going to click Move Selected Objects. I'm going to select Relative. And this is where that moving the sheet thing comes in. I'm going to say -120, whatever that known distance is. And now it's aligned for the next sheet. I can close out of this. I'm going to select this stuff. And all of this, since I'm doing a bunch of through cuts, all of this can stay the same, and it should stay the same based on, it will pop up the same as whatever the last setting was. So this is going to be, this is the first one, first piece, second piece, third piece is over here, fourth piece is here, fifth piece. So this is going to be P1, P2, P5. I'm going to hit calculate. Oh, I forgot something. I forgot tabs. So for this large one, it's probably fine to just leave it as it is. I don't need tabs. For these shorter ones, these smaller guys, they will probably not have, it is likely that they will not have anything in them. So that means I need to add tabs. I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to say Edit Tabs. Now, I could just say have a constant number, add tabs, or I could, see how my cursor has changed? I can just go in and add tabs where I would like. I'm going to click there, click there, click there, click there. And 2 is plenty to hold that in place for as long as I need it to. I'm going to say close. Do pay attention to this. You can change the dimensions of those tabs. I like to do a really thin one so that it's like barely holding on. Most of the time it's plenty. Click calculate. If you wanted to preview it, you could. I'm going to hit save. make sure that it's correct. All of that looks right. Save toolpath. Save it. Close that. Move on to the last one. I'm going to deselect that so I don't have to see it anymore. Ooh, stop. There we go. Now I can move these again. -120. It's in the right place. Nice. I'm going to select that. Toolpath again. Outside, all the same things. This one is Padua sign number 4. I can hit calculate. Close. Save it. Save it. Done. Great. I hope this has been helpful and informative. Okay, bye.